And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we are going to be talking about the new head coach for North Carolina, the college, and we're going to go ahead and dive right into this. And just to make sure that all of you guys know exactly which team I'm talking about, because there are a lot of there are a lot of North Carolina schools. I'm talking about North Carolina, the Tar Heels, and as I'm sure you guys know, Bill Belichick, and I actually covered this in a couple of segments ago. Bill Belichick was interviewed for the head coaching position, and it turns out they have come with an agreement, and that is not Bill Belichick. That's Bill Belichick. There we go. So Bill Belichick is now the new head coach for North Carolina, and they have agreed to a 5-year deal. The details of the contract are, for the moment, unclear. I'm actually going to go ahead and check to see if they updated his contract with the University of North Carolina. And let me see. So he is apparently going to. It was initially reported that it would be for 3 years and worth of $30 million to become the coach, but the school later announced that Belichick is going to agree to a 5-year deal. So the amount of money that he is going to be making in this contract is, for the moment, unclear. So I don't really have that information yet right now. I apologize, but regardless, he is going to be the new head coach for the next 5 years. Now, he rejoined the coaching ranks. I mean, it's on a different level, obviously. I mean, we all know his career in the NFL is just spectacular. I mean, it's full of championships. We already know about his time with the Pats, but there was also his time as a defensive coordinator with the New York Giants. Best time. Obviously, I wasn't born in that time, but I do know the stories, and I do know just how good that New York Giants defense was under Bill Belichick. I mean, he's scary according to a lot of the players that have played with Bill Belichick. He's incredibly serious, and I'm very curious to see just how well the Tar Heels are actually going to play now that he is the head coach. I'm wondering how the team is going to perform, and whether or not this team is actually going to be a competent team. And I'm actually going to go ahead and check their record in college football, because they're one of those teams that you don't really pay attention to all that much in football. They're much better in basketball than they are in football. They have a much better history in basketball for the NCAA than they do in football. And the one time that I do remember talking about them, and the one time that I actually remembered a game with them, was against James Madison, where, I mean, that was just a scoring rampage. Like, James Madison scored 70 points, and North Carolina scored 50 points. Like, that is a high scoring game. And it's just like, that is ridiculous. Where was the defense in this one? That's probably why they decided to hire Bill Belichick, a coach that valued defense and a coach that knows how to coach on defense. But the team record, they're 10th in the ACC, and they're also, I believe that they are 6-6 going into this. Towards the end of this season, it would seem like they are 6. Yeah, they are 6-6. I'm just looking at the at ESPN right now, and I mean, they are one of the lower teams in the ACC. SMU is obviously the highest team. Clemson is also up there. They're both in the college football playoffs. Syracuse is higher up there as well. They're 8-4 overall, but this team, and in their conference, they're 3-5. So not a very dominant team in their conference. Again, they're much better at basketball than they are in football. But regardless, this new coach, Bill Belichick, I think is going to be a real difference maker, especially on the defensive side of the ball for this team. So this deal must be ratified by the university's Board of Trustees and Board of Governors, and so a special session was held Thursday, according to multiple media outlets. And the wait a minute, actually, there is, it turns out that Bill Belichick is going to be making $50 million in this contract, in this new 5-year contract, so that's going to be $10 million a year. And I mean, he's a 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach. $50 million a year. While it doesn't really seem all that much, I mean, I think he's just doing it to sort of bolster his his legacy. Would not be surprised if he's trying to prove everyone that he can be a good coach without the help of Tom Brady, because that was sort of the stipulation when Tom Brady left the Patriots. Like, oh, Tom Brady wasn't a system quarterback, or Bill Belichick is nowhere near as good of a coach without Tom Brady, and the Pats were awful with Bill Belichick after Tom Brady left. All that stuff. I think. And what's crazy about it is that I'm surprised that he didn't really start out as a college coach. This is going to be his first time as being a head coach for a college program. His father was a very well-respected head coach. I believe his father coached for the Army a very long time ago, obviously, because Bill Belichick is very old. No offense to him. Please don't find me. But Steve Belichick, he was an assistant coach for the University of North Carolina from 1953 to 1955. And so now he's going to take over the Tar Heels program that has not won a conference title since 1980. And Bill Belichick, he said in this statement released by North Carolina, I'm excited, probably in this voice, I'm excited for the opportunity at UNC Chapel Hill. I grew up around college football with my dad and treasured those times. I have always wanted to coach in college, and now I look forward to building the football program for Chapel Hill. He probably said that in that monotone voice. Would not be surprised. North Carolina Chancellor Lee H. Roberts added in the statement that this is an exciting day for Carolina football and our university. Carolina is committed to excellence and to creating an opportunity to succeed in everything we do, from the classroom to the field of competition. I know after speaking with Coach Belichick that he shares that commitment. His legacy speaks for itself, and we look forward to working together on the next chapter of Carolina football. Belichick is going to replace Mack Brown for the head coaching position. Mack Brown was fired at the end of the regular season as the Tar Heels went 6-6. And they're going to play in the Fenway Bowl on December 28th against Boston. Boston is a very, very good college team, so I don't really know if the Tar Heels are going to end up winning in this game. But the athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, said in a statement that, quote, "We know that college athletics is changing, and those changes require new and innovative thinking. Bill Belichick is a football legend, and hiring him to lead our program represents a new approach that will ensure Carolina football can evolve, compete, and win today and in the future." Now, I will say it's going to be a little bit interesting how Bill Belichick is going to handle recruitment, but I think his name is going to speak for itself. I think a lot of I think a lot of collegiate athletes and I think a lot of high schoolers are going to want to be coached by Bill Belichick. And I mean, just the name, it's going to maybe it's not really a great experience being under Bill Belichick, right? Like being a player. I will say that, Tom Brady and Gronk and several other players, they know that Bill Belichick has a little bit of a, how should I say this? His personality is a bit dark, I guess you should say. He's very blunt and he's very straightforward. And Tom Brady even joked about the recruitment, saying all right, are you going to join us or what? We don't really need you, but are you going to join us? Something along those lines is what he said, basically trying to mimic Bill Belichick and his recruitment. But it doesn't seem like he likes to play nice. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to work in recruiting a lot of these young football players into wanting to play for the Tar Heels. But again, I think the name really speaks for himself. Now, as we know, he had his time with New England, both with Tom Brady and after Tom Brady, and he retired from coaching in the NFL in 2023 after 24 years with the New England Patriots. That's how long his tenure was, and it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. I like to call him the Emperor, because he's been him and the Patriots have been the top dog of not just their division but for the most part the entirety of the NFL. And it's they just would not go away. It did not make any sense to me why they would not go away. It also didn't make any sense to me how the division that they played in was so incredibly weak, and it only just started to get competitive when Tom Brady ended up leaving, which of course it happens. But regardless, Belichick has 333 wins in the NFL as an NFL head coach, and he needs 14 more to break the all-time wins record for NFL coaches held by Don Shula. However, according to reports earlier this week, he was surprised not to hear from the NFL teams with exiting vacancies. So it doesn't really seem like many organizations wanted Bill Belichick as the coach, which is a little bit surprising, but what more can you do? It's going to be his first time coaching a collegiate level program. His son Steve is a defensive coordinator at the University of Washington, and a prominent role for him at UNC was reportedly a part of his father's pitch to the Tar Heels. Now, Huskies head coach Jed Fish was a former assistant for Bill Belichick, who spent significant time around the Washington program over the past years. During an interview on the Pat McAfee Show on Monday, Belichick outlined what he believed he could bring to a program during the NIL era that has contributed to other coaches such as Nick Saban, leaving the college football program. I mean, that the emergence of NIL deals was a big reason why Nick Saban did not want to continue coaching. But during the, he said the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL, he said. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football, whether that was at the end of their college career or at the end of their pro career. But it would be geared toward developing the player, time management, discipline, structure, and all that. That would be life skills regardless of whether they're in the NFL or somewhere in the business. That's what he said. So that's all that I really have to say in this fourth segment. So now we're going into the fifth segment, which is a segment that I am positive that Brady fans are going to absolutely dread. And we are going to talk about one of Tom Brady's luckiest moments in the playoffs. Now, I've been teasing this for a while, and now I'm actually going to do it. So I will be right back after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.